7 years ago, I was committed to go raw vegan. And when I started out, I thought I was doing everything right. But the truth is, I was failing at 6 basic things you might be failing at too. And people blame raw food, but in reality, it's these invisible mistakes that often sabotage the miraculous results that raw food really can give you. So in this video, I want to share the exact things I wish someone would have told me on day one so you can avoid them and actually feel amazing on this journey. The first mistake that I see a lot of people do, and I've done myself in the beginning, is to overcomplicate things. And the reason why I personally think simplifying things to the T in the very beginning is so huge and beneficial is because when you start a new way of eating, a new lifestyle, then you already need to make so many decisions in general. Every time you don't do your old routine, the old things you usually do, but you do something new, you have to make a decision. If on top of that, now you go ahead and complicate the whole process, then that makes it so much harder to actually stick with these new behavioral patterns, with these new habits. So the thing that I observe a lot is just thinking you need special equipment, you need special fruits and vegetables, special salads, special recipes to get started, when in reality, all that you really need is just a knife, a chopping board, maybe a blender to make some smoothies with bananas, but you could also literally just eat the fruit in its whole natural form. And you need a bunch of fruit. And for that, I really recommend just going to different supermarkets at first, checking out where can you get different things that taste really, really good, and then really dialing in those things that are really, really good and in season right now. For example, at the local organic shop nearby, I can get amazing apples and oranges, so that's where I go every time I go out shopping to buy apples and oranges. And then I buy bananas at a certain supermarket where I know that's the place where I get the best bananas that tastes really, really good. And then really just dialing in that routine and chopping wood, carrying water, always doing, not the same every day, but kind of having a new routine. Because what have you been doing the last 20, 30, 40 years? It probably was a very similar kind of routine every day too, because our brain naturally likes to put these routines into place, these habits, which sometimes can be destructive. Sometimes, for me, it used to be things that I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, I shouldn't be going out every time and buy that junk food and then eat it. But the same way that you can incorporate a routine like that, you can also incorporate a new routine that's very healthy and very, very good for your body. So I really recommend finding a few fruits that you really love, finding maximum 2 or 3 salad dressings that you really enjoy, and then just creating those on a consistent daily basis, locking in that routine. And then once you've understood the system, once you've understood the matrix, you've felt the amazing benefits on your body, then it's time to explore and see, can I maybe experiment a little bit beyond that and try out new things. The second one is to not put any attention on the inner state and only focus on changing the outer. So only focus on changing what you eat and, the way you take care of your physical body, but completely disregarding the emotional body, the inner world that we are also living in. We're not just living in this physical body, but we also experience all these emotions and all these feelings. And the reason that is so important is because raw food uncovers a lot of things, because we're no longer putting a lid on all of these feelings. So now we need to find a way to deal with these suppressed emotions that maybe have been bottled up for many, many years. And I think that is a reason why I don't actually think it's the quality of the fruit in the supermarkets, or it's the cold weather, or it's the discipline or the willpower, why this raw food diet seems sometimes so unattainable and so hard and you need to hustle and grind. I don't actually think that. I really think it's because in our society, we have learned that our feelings sometimes are not valid. Like when I used to be angry as a child, people would tell me, don't be angry, especially as a girl, you're not allowed to be angry. Or when I would be sad, I would be held and people would say, oh, don't cry, it's all good, kind of belittling the feeling and the importance of the feeling. And that is how feelings and emotions are regarded in our society. So it's no wonder that we have learned to then just shove them down, to numb them, to not feel them, to not allow ourselves to actually express them in a healthy, constructive way, but to either express them in a very unconstructive way or to numb them down with, for example, food. So I think putting a lot of attention and care and love into that area of our lives, like our inner world, our feelings, our emotional, mental health, is, for me, it's been the biggest game changer. And it's been like the key that I needed to put in the lock to really open the door to make this something that's sustainable, that's successful, that gives me the results that I truly desire and allows me to put these new behaviors into practice that I've been dreaming about for so long. I was like, oh, if I would do that, oh my God, I would feel so good and my life would be so awesome. And then I would actually go ahead and do these things, because I would still think that I would need to follow my own old behavioral patterns of how I used to deal with my emotions. But then when I found the way, for example, to just sit with my feelings, allow them to be there, and actually realize, hey, okay, it is a little painful to feel this right now, but this feels actually good because there's an emotional release happening right now. Or once I started allowing myself to embody those feelings by getting into more exercise, things like running, rebounding, strength training, and really, like, when I would feel angry, to use my body and express that anger through doing pull-ups or going on a quick fast run. Or when I would feel like I can't do this, I don't know how to overcome this challenge, and then the strength training would really give me the strength, it would really give me the confidence to overcome hard challenges and hardships. And I do also want to let you know that I'm planning to do a raw food challenge in January. So if you want to join, then make sure to send me a message on WhatsApp with the words "I am in," and then I'm going to add you to the group, and I'm going to send you all the details for the challenge in January. And I'll also put a link for my WhatsApp in the description box. The third mistake that I see a lot of people do, and that I was also guilty of in the beginning, is to not adjust the environment that you're living in. Now, what do I mean by that? For me, environment includes many different things, but one of the biggest one is definitely your home, like your fruit stock, the kitchen, the tools in the kitchen, even like your bed setup that maybe allows you to have better sleeping hygiene, better sleeping practices, because sleep's so huge. But then also, adjusting your sleep schedule and maybe allowing for a little bit more sleep in the beginning, which it will decrease. Like after a few years on raw food, you'll be surprised how little sleep you need to still wake up with a ton of energy. But in the beginning, the body goes through that healing, through that detox process. So it's incredibly important to really allow ourselves to sleep as much as we can. And especially if we have 9-to-5 jobs, then it's really important to set up a routine that allows space for that. But then also one really big one is friends and family. And I'm not saying to cut out all friends from one day to another, or to not spend time with your family anymore. I'm not saying that. But finding new friends that really understand you, so that you feel that sense of community and you don't feel like you're an outcast who is just, not integrated in society anymore, is really, really important. But to feel like you're part of something really huge, you're part of a community of people who are all in this together. And there are so many raw foodists in the world. If you knew, you would be surprised. And you're not alone in this. You're not alone in wanting to step up for your health, for your body, for how you feel, the quality of your life, the experiences you're able to make in this life. You're not alone. There are so many people out there on the same path, and finding ways to connect with them, whether that is going to a raw food festival, joining online communities, or seeing if there are any fruit lugs in your area, can be so beneficial. And once you get the ball rolling, once you go to a fruit fest, you start meeting all these people, and these people know other people who are raw foodists, and you're going to be linked up with this amazing community. And yeah, you'd be surprised. There's probably at least a dozen people close by where you live who are on the same path. So finding them, connecting with them, and just feeling that sense of you belong, it's been so valuable for me, because once I started meeting all these people and I felt this sense of like, oh my God, there are so many people who are as excited about this as me, I finally felt like I could let my fire, my excitement out. I could express it, I could live it, I could embody it. And that felt so good. And at this point, I've met so many wonderful people, and yeah, just super, super grateful for every single one of them. And maybe some older relationships or friendships will very gently and slowly fade away. That's how it's been for me. And also the way that I interact with my family has become different. It's very beautiful and I love my family, and still it's in a different way where I'm standing up for myself, the things that are important to me. And for that, for me personally, it was necessary to, for some time, be a little bit more on a distant way of interacting with them, to be able to step back into that relationship with more clarity on what is important to me, what I want, and to be able to stay in my own truth and not get so affected and influenced by my environment anymore. So definitely adjusting your environment, I think, is super huge on the raw food lifestyle. The fourth mistake is to be super, super hard on ourselves when we do things that are not in alignment with what we set out to do, whether that's eating fully raw and not eating any cooked food, or whether that is following a certain health regimen or a certain detox protocol. It can be so easy to say, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I didn't do this. How could I have? And I think at this point, it's huge to be really, really gentle on ourselves and to lower the expectations that we have on ourselves, and especially put our focus on all the amazing things that we're actually doing, that we're actually accomplishing every day. Whether that is just incorporating 10 more minutes of movement every day, whether that is going to bed earlier, whether that is having a really nice fruit meal every morning for breakfast, eating more bananas or eating more apples or whatever fruit you really, really love, eating more melon. And really focus on that, focus on the abundance, and you will find that more and more of these actions and behaviors will come through you when you remove expectations and you have this judgment-free space towards yourself where anything you do is okay. You have compassion with yourself. You're loving with yourself. You also know where you want to go. You have that goal. You have that vision in mind, but you know you have so much time to get there. The fifth mistake is to use the raw food diet as a means to an end. I truly believe that the journey of being a raw foodist is already the destination, because you get to eat all this amazing fruit. You get to have all these amazing meals. You have so much energy, excitement for life. You get to actually come into contact with your feelings on such a deep level. Not to say that you can't do that on another diet. You absolutely can. But the raw food diet definitely accelerates it, which, yeah, for sadness, fear, anger, that can sometimes be a little bit of a drag. But you also feel your joy more intensely. You feel your excitement more intensely. You feel love and connection towards other people more intensely. And I've also found that that also really fades onto the people that I spend time with, even if they're not raw foodists. So it's a really, really beautiful thing, and there are so many things to gain, but especially the food aspect. Every meal, if you learn how to pick good fruit, which I'm going to get to in the next point, every single meal is so exciting, and you get to have these mouthgasms, and you get to actually feel really, really nourished, satisfied, satiated. And sometimes when I have a cooked meal, I'm wondering like, where is that excitement? I'm kind of waiting for that because I've gotten so used to that from all the raw food meals that I've eaten. So I think it's really, really important to see this as a gift, as a blessing, to have discovered that. And I was so grateful when I found it, but still I thought I need to do this in order to get somewhere, to get all these results, to accomplish all this detox. And when I look back now, I wish I had soaked up the deliciousness of this whole journey and of this process a lot more and taken it a lot slower without the expectation and the need to get somewhere, to get a certain result from this. But yeah, over time I have developed this sense of I'm really doing this because I enjoy it so much in the here and now. And if there is a nice outcome at the end of the tunnel, that's awesome. But the reason I'm doing it is because I'm already here, like I'm already at the destination. And then the sixth mistake is to not put so much attention on the ripeness and the quality of the fruits that we're eating. And the reason that is so important is because if the fruit we're eating is not better than the cooked foods and the junk foods, then there isn't too much of an incentive to actually do it. Because with fruit, it's not as bulletproof as, okay, let's say you boil up some potatoes and you have that with a special sauce that you always make, or you have this pasta with a special pasta sauce that you always make and you know that's going to be good, or you have even something that's already readily made that you can buy at the grocery store. It's not like that with fruit. You need to have an eye for which thing tastes good and which doesn't, and pick the things that taste good. And if we manage to do that, when I started to manage to do that and be very selective about the food that I put into my body, then I naturally felt more and more like I was gravitating towards this way of eating. And I was no longer trying to push against something, trying to eat things that I didn't feel too excited about. I was just like, okay, that's just what I gotta have right now. And yeah, also ripeness is so huge, because when we eat ripe fruit, we get this deep sense of satiation. We get the glucose to our cells, to our brain, and we're going to feel fueled up. We're going to feel satisfied. We're going to feel full. Versus if we eat unripe fruit, that can first of all lead to digestive issues and bloating, and will allow us to not be able to eat the quantities of calories that we really need, but also absorb the amount of glucose that we need for our energy levels in order to function. So when I started to really only eat ripe fruit and focus on there being enough sugar in the fruit that I'm actually eating and not wasting space in my stomach, not wasting empty calories, because unripe fruit is empty calories for me. I don't want to have it. I would rather wait a couple more days and eat something that's actually ripe, or something that doesn't need to ripen. And that way actually feel like this diet is something that makes me feel energized, that makes me feel satiated, and I don't need the cooked food to feel full or get in enough calories. So yeah, those are the 6 mistakes. If you want to learn what a raw food festival looks like and what it's like to hang out with a bunch of other raw foodists, make sure to check out this video. And I also made a video where I share all the 33 benefits that I'm experiencing on this raw food lifestyle. So if you're interested in that, then click here. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe see you in my next video. Bye!